Marvel Secret Wars. In 1984, Marvel had a brilliant idea. Take all of their superheroes, all of their supervillains, put them on a different planet, and have them all fucking fight. It was, for lack of a better term, pretty awesome. This was one of the first major crossovers Marvel did at the time. To capitalize on the popularity of the book, they made merchandise. Most notably, the toys. These, my friends, are some of the first Marvel action figures ever. Before this, I'm pretty sure all we had were Migos. But these were the first real action figures. You had your obvious picks like Spider-Man, Captain America, and Iron Man. And for the villains, you had Doctor Doom, Magneto, Kang the Conqueror, and there's some lesser known picks in there, like the Constrictor and Iceman, who, believe it or not, was one of Marvel's most popular characters at the time. And you'll never guess who made these. Mattel. Yes, the toy brand that would eventually make toys for DC Comics started off with Marvel. It's a really cool toy line, and definitely an important one, as it helped pave the way for Toy Biz and the future creation of Marvel Legends. Now let's fast forward about 4 decades. Hasbro is now the owner of the Marvel license, and they're still making the Marvel action figures to this very day. And most recently, they made a Marvel Legends Secret Wars wave, in homage to the original 1984 toys. Included in this wave are a lot of the same characters, like Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Wolverine, but then you had some new characters, like the Beyonder and Titania. These 2 figures in particular are very cool, and I would highly recommend them. This Iron Man is like the same classic Iron Man we've gotten like 4 times already, only this time they gave him roller skates. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this figure. Although they really gotta stop painting the arc reactor blue, it's supposed to be yellow, goddammit. The Wolverine figure is fine, he's just fine. This guy is yet again another repaint, this time of the X-Men 97 Wolverine, but with a new head and a very tannish brown color. Now this is accurate to the original toy, but honestly, I just don't like it. Also, the new head has him smirking, which I'm not really a fan of either. So this one was one I didn't pick up either. That just leaves us with the last 2. Captain America and the black-suited Spider-Man. Now I got a lot to say about the Spider-Man figure, so let's go ahead and start with Captain America. I gotta say, I like the box. As you can see, it's almost a one-to-one recreation of the original packaging from the Mattel figures. If you're a person who keeps the figures in the box, you're gonna love this wave. Having all of them hung up on your wall would probably look really cool. I, however, am not an inbox collector. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, this figure is mostly a repaint of the 20th anniversary Captain America, which in and of itself was also a repaint of the Marvel Legends 80th Captain America. But I like this figure, so I'm not mad seeing it again. Another big difference is the blue. 20th Cap is bright yet saturated, while this new Captain America is much brighter than before. It's not quite aqua blue, but you know, it's getting there. The scales on the new figure are completely unpainted, whereas on the older figure, each scale had an individual highlight, and I just think this looks much cooler. It really does add dimension to the scales. They even painted them on the back, and if you know anything about Hasbro, I'm sure this was really hard for them to do. Even the stripes on the stomach are painted differently. The old figure goes red, white, red, and the new figure goes white, red, white. Personal preference, but I prefer the red stripe in the middle. And obviously, the biggest difference are the limbs. The new Secret Wars figure has pinless arms, and not only does he have pinless knees as well, the actual legs are different. You can see wrinkles up on the thigh area that aren't there on the 20th anniversary figure. Secret Wars Captain America is smiling, looking about as jolly as one can get, while the 20th Cap is locked the fuck in and ready to kick your ass.
Hard.
The articulation is mostly the same. The only real difference between these two is that the new Secret Wars Captain America can do the splits much better than the old figure. A massive improvement, so good job. And then we got the accessories. You have your standard fists, you get 1 saluting hand, 1 pointing hand, and 2 grabby hands for some reason. I would have much preferred the open hands from the older figure. Where this Cap was smiling and happy, you get the exact opposite, where he's pissed off. And I gotta say, I wouldn't want to mess with this guy.
Get off my lawn, you fucking kids!
But what's he so angry about? Well, it might be the fact that his shield is fucking broken. Yep, for the first time, I think ever, we get a completely battle-damaged shield. And the little cracks in here are painted and sculpted. Now this is a cool looking accessory. They even included little bits that broke off the shield. There is a clip on the back so you can clip it onto his arm, and you can flip this to a peg, which then connects to the figure's back. The only thing that's a real bummer is he doesn't have a regular shield, so you're gonna have to get your own Captain America shield. But he does come with a second shield. It just looks like this. An orange circle with Captain America's portrait right on the front. But it's not just any picture, it's holographic. Ooh. And this shield actually opens.
Get the fuck out.
And now you can replace the picture with a picture celebrating the 40th anniversary of Secret Wars. Now obviously, this is a callback to the original toy line, which came with the exact same accessory. If you grew up with the original toy line, I'm sure this is very nostalgic for you, but I am not 40 years old, so I really don't have any connection to this, and I would have preferred just a standard Captain America shield instead. But overall, this is a very solid Captain America figure. I think I still prefer the old 20th anniversary cap better. I mean, you got the shield with the effects, you get the Steve Rogers head. I personally still prefer this one, but honestly, this new cap is not bad at all. I would purchase this. But enough about Captain America, let's get on to the figure you're all waiting for.
Time to take care of unfinished business.
The black costume is just as iconic as Spider-Man's red and blue suit. And this is the latest action figure. But is it the best one so far? Well, I guess we'll just have to find out. Except I'm lying, we're not gonna review this figure yet. Congratulations, you just walked the prank.
You just walked the prank!
Let's go over every Marvel Legends black-suited Spider-Man that came out before this one. We start at the beginning of time. 2001. Spider-Man Classics. The very first wave of 6-inch superposable figures of the Marvel characters. Predating Marvel Legends, this, my friends, is the beginning. This line gave us our first super articulated Spider-Man figure, but it also gave us our very first articulated black-suited Spider-Man figure. The base body is the same as the red and blue figure, but there is no sculpting, and everything you see on him is just painted on. It's an extremely basic figure, but it is a decent first attempt. Toy Biz would give us another black-suited Spider-Man in the form of the Spider-Man Classics black-suited Spider-Man with missile-launching glider. Get a look at this packaging, it doesn't get much more classic than this. And as you can see, that is Ultimate Spider-Man, because this was the early 2000s. The nostalgia, it's hitting. Also, the box says Spider-Man's been around for 30 years, which is crazy because we're coming up on 60 now. But as we get a look at the figure, it's definitely an improvement from the first black-suited Spider-Man. He's got way more articulation. The 2 neck joints, the fingers, the toe articulation. It might be a luxury now, but back then it was just standard. All of the white on the figure is still just painted on, and it's pretty obvious, but this is still a super fun figure. He feels incredibly smooth. I just really like him, man. What can I say? He's a charming little fella. But as we take a closer look at the figure, I noticed a few things. He has a butterfly joint that moves forward, but he also has a second hinge that moves the other direction. He also has an ab crunch, which is nothing too surprising, but he's also got a diaphragm joint. Yeah, that's right, way before Hasbro was doing it. But all this to say, everything about this figure feels familiar.
Looks very, similar.
This figure is the same as the Spider-Man 2 movie figure. I mean, look, the articulation is almost an exact copy. Even the forearm is longer on this side than the other. Holy shit, it's the same figure. Obviously, the movie one has all this sculpted detail, and I don't know which one came first. Did they take this black suit figure and just sculpt the movie details over it? Or did they take the movie figure and smooth it out to make a black suit? I don't know, but it's kinda awesome. After Toy Biz, Hasbro re-released this figure in the Spider-Man Origins line, where the only difference is all the white paint was painted silver instead. So there's your unused black suit from Spider-Man 3. But if you thought that was it for this figure, oh no. We gotta talk about the accessory, the missile launching glider. I thought this was gonna be like a Green Goblin glider, but no, it's actually a hang glider. As you can see, the fabric is red, even though On the box, it was black to match the figure. Okay. The quote-unquote missile is just this little web piece, and you press the button on the back to fire at your enemies. So the way you attach Spider-Man onto this thing is you get this little harness, which you have to plug into these 4 tabs. It's very tedious, but once Spider-Man is secure, you can take to the skies and play with your Spider-Man hang glider. But I'm a full-grown fucking man, so I'm not even gonna try and play with this. I like this figure. I like him a lot. But now it's Hasbro's turn. They made a few black-suited Spider-Man figures. I remember having this one a long time ago. But their first Marvel Legends was from the Red Hulk Build-A-Figure series, reusing a bullseye body mold for some reason. But I actually really like how this figure looks. The head's pretty small, but I really like the eyes. I love the fact he's not just black plastic, he actually has blue highlights over him. And this Venom logo is probably my favorite out of all the black-suited Spider-Man figures. It just looks so sharp. But with that being said, he is pretty outdated. But I don't know, I still think he kinda looks cool. I actually would not mind getting this someday. Hasbro wouldn't give us another black-suited Spider-Man until the Sandman Build-A-Figure series. Yep, here it is. This time he's on the Pizza Spider-Man body. Now, at the time, the Pizza Spider-Man was considered the definitive Spider-Man, so it did make sense for them to repaint it in the black suit, but I don't like it.
He stinks, and I don't like him.
I really don't like the Pizza Spider-Man body. I hate it. I hate how fucking skinny he is. I hate the fact that the hip joints don't fucking work. And his stupid-ass duck feet. I just don't like it. The figure overall looks fine. Nothing too crazy. But if you were around during this time, then you remember the arms were notorious for breaking. Literally everyone broke their black-suited Spider-Man because the plastic quality was just so shit. If you go on eBay right now, I guarantee you, there's a few broken ones on there. They did re-release this figure in a 2-pack with Kraven. This figure was much better in terms of quality, and he even came with a Peter Parker head, where he's bruised up and battle damaged. But why is he still smiling? You just got your ass whooped, kid. So for me, this is a pretty mid figure, I'm not gonna lie. But not Kraven. I kept him. But in 2022, we finally got an updated black-suited Spider-Man, this time from the Retro Carded line. This time he is on the much better Retro Spider-Man body, not the Renew Your Vows body. He's still got the pins and these weird legs that don't want to stay up, and there's no toe joints. But I gotta say, I love this figure. I think this body works much better for Symbiote Spider-Man than it did the classic figure. He had some wonky proportions that were really noticeable, but on this figure they're not as noticeable because he's mostly black. I do think the spider symbol looks a little weird. You can see these thick vertical lines going across from, I guess, the printing machine, but then there's none on the bottom half of the logo, so what's that about? But then they fucked the paint on the bottom. Like, come on, man. But I love the head sculpt. This is my ideal black costume Spider-Man head. I just think the eyes look perfect. It reminds me a lot of Scott Johnson's Black Spider-Man. He comes with fists, wall-crawling hands, and thwippers. Yeah, they actually gave you a pair of thwippers. So this is the symbiote Spider-Man, but you can pose him with the thwippers like he's wearing the cloth version. This figure's really cool. He's very simple, but I like him. And then less than a year later, Hasbro revealed the black-suited Spider-Man and Carnage 2-pack based on the animated series. This time, the Spider-Man is on the Renew Your Vows body. So he's pinless, he has the toe joints, and there's blue cell shading to mimic the style of the show. I think this figure's pretty cool too. The only problem is he's in a 2-pack with probably the shittiest Carnage figure I've ever seen in my life. But that brings us to today, with the Secret Wars Spider-Man. Once again, the packaging is almost a one-to-one recreation of the old toys. I like it. Matter of fact, I love it. I'm actually debating whether or not I should open this. Psych! For this wave, I like the fact that they chose the symbiote Spider-Man. Secret Wars is famously the first appearance of the symbiote and the black costume. So once again, this figure is a repaint. I think you're starting to see a pattern here. This time of the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man. My favorite Marvel Legends Spidey figure, and this guy is just as good. The Amazing Fantasy body is a lot slimmer and smooth than the previous Spider-Man bodies. It really gives the figure a sleek look. The spider logo, honestly, it leaves a little bit to be desired. It doesn't look bad by any stretch, but once again we have the lines from the printing machine, and it's pretty fuzzy. It's not as clean as I'd like it to be. Come on, Hasbro, this is like the only part of the figure you have to paint, and you kinda messed it up? But at least the head sculpt looks really good. Now, despite this figure being based off Secret Wars, this head is undeniably based off of Kraven's Last Hunt. That's not a complaint though, I love this head. Pause on that, by the way. And resume, because you get a second head sculpt. Symbiote Spider-Man with the small eyes is peak. Think the 2000s comics, or Web of Shadows. You do not want to mess with this guy. But what's he so angry about? He looks like he just saw... You get fists, you get wall crawlers, and of course, Swippers. Oh, you beautiful bastards, you did it again. If you look at the back of the hands, you'll notice they're in a triangle shape as opposed to the usual square. And this is how it appeared in Secret Wars, so this detail is appreciated. And you get the power shield. Articulation is exactly the same as the Amazing Fantasy figure. Not the best, but still really good. Here he is next to the Secret Wars Captain America, Marvel Legends Black Cat, Marvel Legends Venom. Here he is next to the best black-suited Spider-Man figure, and here are all of the black-suited Spider-Man figures that I own. The Figma Aqua. We actually haven't gotten as many figures of the black suit as you would imagine, but the ones we did get were awesome, and this new Secret Wars Spider-Man is awesome, despite the fact he doesn't even look like Secret Wars Spider-Man. The last Spider-Man from the retro line looked more like Secret Wars than this figure. This isn't so much Secret Wars Spider-Man as it is just a standard black costume Spider-Man, and I think it's the best one we've gotten so far. In terms of Marvel Legends, of course. This is one I would highly recommend. If you can't get the Mafex version, or any of the older figures, then definitely get this one. Spider-Man is back in black, and this figure is not whack. Not bad for our second Secret Wars Spider-Man, huh? Oh yeah, I said second. You remember the Spider-Man Origins black-suited figure? Well, you'll never guess what they named it. The winner is Cyber Productions 3736. Please message me on any of my social medias. Link below. Don't blame it on the sunshine. Don't blame it on the moonlight. Blame it on the boogie.